friends, it's Valerie. Welcome back to this week's What's for Dinner. If you are new here, I would love if you would hit that subscribe button and join my YouTube family. And don't forget to leave a like or a comment down below because it really does help my channel. Today's What's for Dinner is going to be in collaboration with my friend Anne over at What's Up Family Home. I will have a link in the description box to her channel, but her channel has cooking videos. She does amazing looking meals. Like, her food looks delicious. So definitely great content when it comes to food, but she is super cool because she does videos on canning, and I've always been super interested in canning. I just don't have the means to do it right now, like space or anything like that to store the canning, so I can't do it now. But oh man, if you're into that, you really should check out her videos. She cans some great stuff and it's just so interesting, but she's the sweetest, so go check her out and let's just get started. For Easter dinner, we just spent time with family, and I didn't get a pretty picture of my plate because I tend to spend time with people I care about on holidays, and then I just forget to do things like take pictures. So I just took a picture of this tray that I brought home, and it had we had ham. My aunt made like carrots because my boyfriend loves carrots, and then she made her green beans with bacon that I love so much. And my other favorite dish of all holidays is her cheesy potatoes. So I'm so thankful that she makes those for me because I could eat the whole tray of them. They are so good. And then she made like a lemon blueberry dessert. And I do hope that all of you that celebrate the holiday had a wonderful Easter. Now, this meal I had made in last week's What's for Dinner, but I had a lot of it for leftovers, so I decided we didn't want to waste that, so we had that again for dinner. And then I served it with a side salad and just some bread, and I will link that video in the description box down below. Okay, so I'm starting off this recipe by taking these chicken patties that I have. I'm cooking them to package directions, but the recipe that I have linked for you, that I will have linked for you for this recipe, is going to be using chicken fingers. I have these chicken patties, so I figured it's going to do the same thing. I'll use them up. So I just bake them according to the package directions. You could also air fry them to your preference. And then I left them in the bottom of the baking dish, a 9x13, and I'm placing about a cup's worth of pasta sauce on top of them, and I'm spreading that out to make sure like each one kind of gets covered the best that it can. And then I'm taking 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Now mine's just the green can, like the craft can, whatever. It's not the best quality ever, but I have to use it up, and I don't have any like fancier Parmesan cheese at the moment, so I just sprinkle that all across the top of all the pasta sauce. And then I'm taking 2 cups of mozzarella cheese that's been grated. This is just the bag kind. Again, I'm using up things that I have, and I'm just placing that on top of everything as even as I can because I'm trying not to get too much on the bottom. I like those little baked bits that you get sometimes, but I don't want a whole bunch of like baked crunchy pieces of cheese. And then you are going to take an 8-ounce package of Crescent rolls. This is just Pillsbury Crescent dough, and it comes like in a rectangular, like it's rolled up, but once you unroll it's like rectangular. Just placing that on top of all of the chicken patty mixture here, and I'm pressing together any parts that like don't really meet very well. And the recipe doesn't call for doing this, but I took a little bit of butter, maybe just a few tablespoons worth. I melted it, I added in some garlic powder and some parsley, and I am basting that on top. If y'all know me by now, you know I like to turn anything that has a dough or bread into like garlic bread if I can. I think it adds so much more flavor, especially for a dish like this that is already like using pasta sauce. It's just going to complement it very well. But I baked that in the oven at 425 degrees for, it says 12 to 14 minutes. I would keep an eye on that if you are basting that with that butter, because it does make it brown a little bit faster, and my oven does run a little bit hotter, so just start keeping an eye on that about 10 minutes in. I served this up with a side salad. Overall, this was a delicious meal. I'm not going to go ahead and say this is my favorite way I've ever had chicken parm. Definitely had better chicken parm, but it was nice to change it up, and I got to use up some ingredients that I already had on hand, being the chicken patties, and I had a lot of crescent rolls I need to use up, so it worked out perfectly for me. I would say next time I would like to try it with chicken strips. I think the better quality of chicken, nice like white pieces of chicken, would be actually pretty delicious with this, so I'm kind of excited to try it again that way. For this meal, I was craving some cilantro lime rice to go with my shrimp tacos. So I make my rice up. You're just going to make up your rice however you like to make it. I do it in an Instant Pot. I like to add at least a tablespoon of butter per cup of rice, and I like to add some pink Himalayan salt. This is going to give the rice flavor while it's cooking, but just make your rice however you see fit. You just need cooked rice to start off with. Then once it's done, add in some chopped cilantro. I had a very small bunch, so I'm adding that in. I do like a little bit more sometimes. And then add the juice from 1 to 2 limes. That's just a preference. At least start off with 1 if you're doing 2 cups of rice. Then at least start off with 1 lime. I mix that together. I like to taste it, and then you can add an additional lime. And if you didn't add salt while it was cooking, you're probably going to want to add some salt at this point. And that's it, and it's really tasty. And then for my shrimp tacos, I'm taking a pound of shrimp, and I'm drizzling with some avocado oil on that and tossing that around. We're going to coat those shrimp so we can add some seasoning there. This is just a preference. I'm using some of the Kinder's garlic and herb, some Old Bay seasoning. I really want to try the Kinder's seafood, but I can't find it right now. And then I'm using Kinder's, the red garlic, a little bit of Slap Ya Mama, and I gave that a toss, and I was like, this still needs something. So I added some more Old Bay and then some paprika to give a little more color to the shrimp, and then give that all a good toss again to get those shrimps coated in all that seasoning. And I'm using my air fryer for this. This might be my first time using this air fryer for the shrimp. I may have grilled them last time, but I'm trying the air function on this. So I'm putting them in the basket, and I believe I made them I just left the standard 390 degrees on there, and I left them for about 6 to 8 minutes, tossing them about halfway through. And if you don't have an air fryer, don't worry, you could definitely just throw these in your skillet, for like 5 minutes, and they'll cook up just fine and be just as delicious. I was just trying something different. And normally for a very quick, easy meal, I like to just get the Asian salad kits, and I just throw all the ingredients together and use that as a topping for my taco, and it adds great flavor to a shrimp taco. But I cannot find an Asian salad kit to save my life right now. And if I do find them, they're like over $5, and I'm not paying that for a salad kit just to top my taco. So I got a bag of cabbage from Aldi. I believe it was like $1. And I had this dressing. It was like an Asian sesame dressing. And I took that and just added a little to the cabbage to my liking, just to coat it. And it worked just fine to give some good, quick flavor to the taco and a freshness and crunch with the cabbage as well. Now, y'all aren't even going to believe that I made these asparagus and then forgot about them. So I took a pound of asparagus. I drizzled them with avocado oil. I hit them with some of the Kinder's, the blend, and some of the Kinder's garlic herb because I already had it out, and I just toss it together. Super simple, easy. It air fries at 400 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes, and we love it. And then I completely forgot about it. Didn't even remember. So what's even worse is that I was taking this picture and thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe I should cut up another vegetable. This doesn't, I want a side vegetable. And then I was like, oh, I'm just too tired. This is what a quick, busy night looks like for me. And then how did I not realize that was my sign? Hello, you made asparagus. They're 10 feet away from you, if that. Grab them. But no, forgot about them, realized hours later. Nonetheless, this meal was super delicious. I put the shrimps on little soft flour taco shells, and I just put that cabbage mixture and then some avocado, and I served it with my cilantro lime rice, and it was incredible, but it would have been better with my asparagus. Okay, so I'm taking a 3-pound or so chuck roast, and I am seasoning it. I'm using Kinder's the blend, but you can just use salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Took a little bit of ranch powder. I'm not going crazy with that. I've seen people using ranch packets, and I really wanted to try it. I've done it with my Mississippi pot roast, but not with my gravy pot roast. So I just wanted to try it a little bit, but I didn't go crazy with it. So I just coated both sides with that to the bottom of my slow cooker. I am going to saute this. I'm using the saute function, to sear this. And if you don't have that, of course, you just use a pan. You don't even have to sear it if you don't want to. Just put it in there. It's perfectly fine. But I decided to do it. I like to try out the functions for different things. So I seared that about a couple minutes on each side. Then I added up some chopped up onion that I chopped and some garlic that I pressed. And then I'm taking one of these Italian dressing packets. Another thing I saw someone else doing, and I just thought, I want to give that a try. So I poured most of it in there. Then I splashed some Worcestershire sauce on top of that. I mixed 1 packet of brown gravy with 1 cup of beef broth, and I poured that into the bottom. I also chopped up some potatoes and carrots. These are just russet potatoes, and this is where I kind of made a mistake here. I put them on top. I should have put them on the bottom because the potatoes just don't get soft enough like this. And so I did correct it later, but for now you'll see me putting it there like that. And I like butter on my roast, so I took some cubed up butter, put it on top. I sprinkled the remaining bit of that Italian dressing packet, and I put the lid on, and I put it for 8 hours, as you can see here. But I did end up fixing that, and then I adjusted the time to make this for 10 hours. Definitely needed 10 hours for my size of roast to be like that fall apart. I wanted all the potatoes to absorb like that gravy, which is why I used brown gravy in with the beef broth. I want a little bit of that brown gravy taste in my potatoes. They really do absorb like all that flavor, and that's like my favorite part. Like potatoes that get soak up all that goodness. But this is it plated. I just shredded it up, put the carrots and potatoes. It was a simple, easy, quick, like we came home to that meal. It was really easy to just serve up, thankfully, and it was delicious. So I have made crustless quiche before, and I will link that video in the description box down below, but I decided to make some of these simply diced potatoes to go along with it. Just the package here if you were interested in what those were. You could also fry up some potatoes. I needed to use them up. I also had a lot of eggs, which is why I decided on breakfast for dinner this night. And I love a good crustless quiche with like just cheese and green chilies. You could serve some meat on the side if you like some bacon would be great with this. And I just had it, like I said, with the potatoes and just a little bit of fruit because I had some strawberries that needed to get used up. And although this does take a while to bake up, thankfully, at least putting the ingredients together is pretty quick, so the oven is doing most of the work and time for this meal, which is great. But do keep in mind that last time I did bake it, I stated how long it took. This time I thought I did the same amount of time, but it was a little more browned. I don't know if it was my oven, I'm not sure, so just in case, just keep an eye on it maybe 10 minutes sooner just to make sure yours doesn't get too brown to your liking. I'm starting this off by taking 1 pound of ground beef, and I've placed that in a large skillet over medium-high heat. I'm kind of letting that get a brown crust on the bottom, and then I'll start using my meat chopper to break that up. But you're just going to cook up 1 pound of ground beef if you're doing it my way. Sorry, I am cutting the recipe down a little bit. We just don't need a whole 9x13 of this, but I will have that linked, and it is a whisk recipe, so it's going to be on a different platform called Whisk. And anyways, so yeah, cook up your pound of ground beef. If you need to drain the grease, go ahead and do that. Then add in a packet of taco seasoning. I needed to add a little bit of water. I don't typically always do that, but this was a very low fat ground beef here, so it didn't have much grease to even help with that, so I had to add a little bit of water, and I just stirred that together until it was all combined. Now I am taking this is an 8x8, I believe, and I'm placing 2 flour tortillas in there, and as you can see, they come up the sides. I did that facing one direction for this first layer, and then I'm taking about half of my ground beef mixture, and I'm going to put that on the bottom. Now, I'm using this Taco Bell mild salsa con queso cheese, something like that, and it's because I had it already and I need to use it up. And I think I got it at Grocery Outlet for like 50 cents, which is a great price. But the original recipe does have you make a queso, but I found this to be way quicker, easier, and it was still very delicious. So definitely recommend skipping the step of making the whole queso if you don't have the time. But I just spread that out. Now, this definitely had a major beefy, cheesy queso taste in the end. So if you don't like a lot of that queso taste, don't put as much as I'm doing here. I was trying to do about half the jar, like per layer. But I just kind of eyed it until it looked about right. Then I made a mixture of, you'll just need pico, you can buy it store-bought, but I made a mixture of tomatoes, onion, cilantro, and jalapeno. I didn't add any lime juice. I was trying not to make this like extra wet so it didn't make it all soggy. So I put a layer of that, and then I'm taking 2 more tortillas, and I put the sides that went up the side going the other direction. Those flaps that go up the side are going to be nice and crispy. But anyways, so do another layer of meat, and then another layer of the queso, as well as your pico. and then just top it with some cheese. You can use a Mexican blend, but I already had grated sharp cheddar cheese, so I just put a little bit. We do have queso going on here like crazy, so I didn't get too crazy with that, but I did want a nice layer of that. And I baked that at 400 degrees for 15 minutes. It got a little burnt on the edges, as you can see, and that's just because that cheese I was spreading went up the side. But the tortilla was crispy on those edges, and that really added a nice texture to the whole thing. I served this with Spanish rice. I put sour cream on top, a whole other scoop of more of pico, because I just love that freshness that gives to this. And oh my goodness, it was so delicious. Like, I expected it to be good. It's taco ingredients, right? And I love a good like crunchy taco or taco ingredients, but I did not expect it to be so different, but like still like a taco. It was so good. I definitely recommend giving this a try, and I definitely recommend, cutting the time down a bit by not making the queso from scratch. But if that's what you want to do as well, I can understand that. But it was really good with this Taco Bell queso. Thanks so much for watching, friends. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that little bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. And don't forget to go check out my friend Anne and leave her a comment letting her know I sent you on over. And I hope you all have a great day.